We appreciate you taking the time to participate in what we think is a very important conversation. The purpose of tonight's meeting is pretty simple. It's to listen. It's to listen to your concerns and any mitigation strategies that you would like to have us advocate for on your behalf, because we want to continue to advocate for this community as we can. We know there are a lot of concerns about the nearby data center campus and its impact on not just Carroll Manor Elementary School, but we've also received concerns from Tuscarora Elementary School. So that's why we sent this out to the entire feeder that's surrounding this actual campus. So we appreciate that. So what it does is it provides an opportunity to hear directly from you, get your perspectives, and to help inform us in future discussions. We have a meeting scheduled, a staff presentation on mitigation strategies for our schools from staff in September. So this will help us as we move toward that meeting. So to ensure that everyone who wishes to speak has an opportunity, each commenter is going to have 2 minutes, and we respectfully ask that you remain courteous, recognize that we do have children present, and then don't interrupt the speakers. Allow each speaker to be heard. We appreciate that. So thank you for being here and for your thoughtful participation and for your commitment to our community and our students. So I want to start by recognizing some of our local and state leaders who are in attendance, and they may also have some brief comments to share that will not take away from the time that you have, but I'd like to recognize them and thank them for coming. First, I want to recognize that Elnora Little is here representing Senator Karen Lewis Young, and the senator has a letter that she's asked Elnora to read. So Elnora, if you come on up to the mic and read the letter from the senator.
To the Honorable President Dean Rose, the Honorable Vice President Ray Gallagher, Frederick County School Board of Education. President Rose, Vice President Gallagher, and members of the Frederick County Public School Board of Education, thank you for convening this meeting tonight. I'm sorry I could not attend this in person. As several of you know, over the 2.5 years ago, I was first elected official in Frederick County to raise a red flag about the impact of diesel generators being brought to the data center sites as backup power in the event of an emergency or grid failure. Carroll Manor Elementary School is located 1,900 feet away from the edge of the data center campus, where over 360 diesel generators and storage tanks of diesel fuel will be located. The school was built in 1965. The facility does not have adequate systems to protect the health and the welfare of the children and staff. The current air quality monitoring system consists of a purple air monitor placed near the school in June of 2026 and is insufficient. These types of monitors do not show the pollutants and do not provide enough meaningful information to be used in measures to protect the citizens. The Virginia Department of Environmental Quality, the VADEQ, has set a clear precedent for how data center emissions should be monitored in Loudoun County's data center alley. They utilize 2 distinct tiers of professional equipment, both operating at the Broad Run High School monitoring station to ensure data is legally and technically correct. The first is the permanent regulatory station, the gold standard. The VADEQ maintains a permanent ambient air quality monitoring station directly at Broad Run High School to measure compliance with federal equivalent methods. This station utilizes professional equipment to measure PM 2.5 and serves as the legal regulatory benchmark for air quality. The CUNAC Air Pro, the data center project sensor, funded by the EPA grant, the VADEQ launched a specialized data center air monitoring project to study emissions specifically from backup generators. They selected the CUNAC Air Pro as their reference grade sensor to provide its accuracy. The VADEQ co-located one of these units directly next to their permanent regulatory at Broad Run High School, allowing them to validate its data against the regulatory standard. Thank you. When evaluating the environmental impacts of heavy industrial infrastructure in Adamstown, we must require monitoring equipment that is trusted by the EPA and other state environmental departments. In the long term, The county should prioritize the upgrade or replacement of Carroll Manor Elementary School. It is a growing community, and the current facility is outdated. However, the community also requires short-term mitigation strategies. With a known number of 44 children on the autism spectrum, a special noise mitigation system is needed. The hum emitted by generators is detrimental to the health and welfare of these children. Furthermore, there is a large population of children who are dealing with asthma. We should also consider how to accommodate an increase in parents requesting to enroll their children in alternative schools. In closing, the community has made multiple thorough attempts to work with the Maryland Department of Environment, the Frederick County Public School Board of Education, and the Frederick County Executive. They do not feel their concerns have been adequately addressed. I request the Board of Education meet with a representative group of parents to identify the issues and work together to resolve these issues. Sincerely, Senator Karen Lewis Young. Thank you.
All right.
I don't need the mic, so thank you, Ms. Little, appreciate it. All right, I also want to recognize from Congresswoman April Delaney's office is Miss Susan Kennedy. She's not going to speak tonight, but she wanted to let you all know she's here. So thank you for being here. And we also have from our House of Delegates, Delegate April Miller. April, would you like to?
First, I want to thank you all for being here tonight, and thank you all for being here tonight at yet another meeting, but thank you. Thank you for putting this on. It's very important to the families, parents, and community members for the Adamstown area for you all to be here and to listen to their concerns, because their concerns a lot of times are about their children that go to the school, their children that play on those fields, their children. And it's our job to give them factual, truthful information about not only the hyperscale data centers that are going in and being built right now, but also what will come with the overlay if the overlay continues to move forward. So I want to talk about lessons learned. So we had a veto override in December. That is a study that's being done. Senator Lewis Young brought that in. We overrode the veto. Those study results should be out in October. We asked that the school systems the impact on schools be included in that safety study. So that hopefully will help inform some of your decisions after your September meeting. So as soon as I get that, I will send it to you all as well. I also put together House Bill 1534 last session. That bill was directly drafted from the lessons learned from Loudoun County. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to make up any kind of statistics. We know what the impacts are because of everything that has happened in Loudoun. And so with the hyperscale data center campus being built right next to this school, we need to pay attention to what lessons they have already learned. I'm not going to reiterate what Senator Karen Lewis Young said, because I wholeheartedly agree with everything that she said in that letter. And those are some of my concerns as well. But I want to talk about that legislation, and then I want to talk about the role of the Board of Education. No, you can't do anything about MDE. I get it. That's our role as adversaries and that's role as our advocates from the state to advocate for our constituents with MDE and try to get them the answers that they need. That's our role. Your role is to not necessarily fight against the county executive, fight against the county council, but it is to fight for these kids. That is your role as board members. Fight for the kids. Advocate to get every piece of information that you need about where the buildings are going, what the impact is, and what people have learned in other areas. Fight for the kids. That is your job. 21% of students here, special education. More with 504s. The kids need you. You are you are the elected voice for students in Frederick County. So the other thing is I want to talk about, we're hearing a lot right now about community benefits, community benefits, community benefits. I don't want to hear about community benefits until we establish community protections. Protecting the school is not a benefit. That's not a benefit. It should not be listed in here. So the powers that be that are building the hyperscale data centers, all of the companies, they need to be paying for the community protections. It shouldn't be you all, it shouldn't be the county, and it shouldn't be my taxpayers behind me and our constituents, because they're already paying a very heavy price. So in summary, I want to let them speak a lot, but that is why I'm putting in legislation again on protecting our schools, protecting our rural areas, and I would like to see you all partner with us on that. Thank you.
All right, next we have Senator Bill Bolden.
Can you guys hear me in the back? I know I speak pretty softly, so I don't really need a mic. Look, I just want to thank you all for coming out. It's important that you're out here, that your advocacy and your continued support and insight is important. That's why we're here together tonight. We don't have all the answers, but I do want to acknowledge, we had a meeting out here a couple weeks ago, last month. We wanted to see, we didn't want to have a map. We wanted to see firsthand how close the data centers are going to be, what the buffers were they going to be appropriate, and is there going to be ground vibrations, all these other things. Also, the technology in the school. Is the filtration system appropriate? So we came out, we had this meeting, and some of the school board members came with us. When we had that meeting, I think at that time we determined that it would be better to have, it's one thing to have us walk around and get a guided tour. It's another thing to come out and see that, and then come out and meet with you guys and hear what concerns you have and what potential solutions that you have. Because the idea behind this community forum, in my opinion, is a problem-solving think tank. It's one thing to come out here and be passionate and be, you can be a little bit upset, but that's not going to find us solutions moving forward. And so this isn't I just want to be clear, this isn't the county exec, this isn't the county council, this is the school board members, and I do appreciate them making this time so that we can come together for the children here and have a discussion about what the expectations are of this community and the parents of these children on what the school board needs to do better as this process moves forward. And I think that that's an important component to this specific meeting. Bring your ideas, because I don't have all the answers. They don't have all the answers, but they may have a good idea, I may have a good idea, you may have a good idea, but when we collectively talk about it, we're able to think tank this and it becomes a great idea or possibly a great solution. And that's what we're really here tonight, is to pick everybody's brain from this community. And there's a lot of people that are concerned about this. It's obvious. We want to hear your thoughts, your concerns, and your ideas for a solution. So I appreciate you all coming out. I look forward to hearing your insight, and really just looking forward to hearing your ideas for moving forward and how we can make it better and do things better for the kids. Thank you all.
Thank you all so much. Thank you for being here tonight. We really appreciate it. So we're going to get started. You'll see the timer here right in front of you. It'll start when you start speaking, and then you'll get the red light and a little buzzer when your time's up. All right, so we're going to start with Dr. Mary Kesselring.
Good evening. First, let me just say that I have a master's degree in secondary education, and I have a PhD in special education, focusing on autistic kids and kids with intellectual disabilities. I worked as a special ed teacher at the high school level for 17 years. So I'm also a resident of Carroll County, but I'm also a part of Stopping the MPRP, and I've been coming to different meetings with the county council and the planning commission and everything here in Frederick, because I'm so concerned about the power lines and the data centers. This particular issue, having the data centers so near schools is very disturbing to me, because I know, especially at this age level, at elementary school level, the kids' brains are still developing, and the sounds, and it's not just the sounds that you hear, it's also this pressure of sounds that affects the human body, especially developing children. And my thing's not. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is the pollution from the whole setup. I mean, the water issues, the electric grid issues. I mean, these data centers are one thing, and I'm so totally for, if they're going to be set up, they need to have their own power, nuclear, next to them. And my suggestion is, if they're not going to put the data centers someplace else other than where the communities are and next to schools, then maybe what you need to do is have the data centers move someplace else, or move the schools someplace else. So that's, and the studies that are going on, I would say, I don't trust the government studies, and I don't trust the companies, the developer studies either. So that's my.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Paula D'Amico.
Good evening. 2 years ago, many members of this community that you see here today stood before the council with one simple request. Listen to the people before approving a project that would place data centers approximately 500 feet from the school. And parents and residents spoke about their concerns. We asked questions about the safety and environment impact, noise, traffic, long-term effects on our children. We weren't asking for any special treatment. We were asking to be heard. Instead, many of us walked away feeling as though our concerns were dismissed, and before they were even seriously considered. We had concerned parents with children that had asthma saying, my child could have trouble breathing because of the 99 diesel generators at the school's backyard. I had other parents noting that their autistic child may really have a reaction to the humming of the generators, as those children had very sensitive reaction to humming or various volumes of sound. Are you aware that Carroll Manor enrolled 44 autistic children and is known to have programs for these kids? As a former educator, I walked with autistic children, and I know firsthand the repercussions, especially if there's even a fire drill. I mean, remotely to that degree. We were asked to take those kids off the school property to do a fire drill. So now that this is going on in our backyard, and you know this, and we've had this meeting 2 years ago, and this is the first time I've actually seen all of you here. I know that you're not the one officially making the decision, but it's pretty maddening to a lot of people, and I'm sure you're going to hear a lot more of that. Now, 2 years later, suddenly the public voice comes out. You want to hear our voice. Why now? Why weren't the conversations welcomed in this decision-making back in the day? The school should be placed where parents can focus on education and not worry about industrial development as it's being placed nearby. Whether you support or oppose data centers, everyone should agree on a decision making.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Charles District.
Folks, I'm a 23-year veteran at Tuscarora High School. I live in this community. My son's sitting right over there who goes to 5th grade here next year. I'm a parent here. I live here. FCPS used to like to say every child, every day. And under that order, I'd say the board's been negligent. I'd say that some of you have even campaigned alongside some council members and county executives who bring that overlay to this schoolyard and to my front yard. This is Pandora's box. It's Pandora's box of pollutants. It's Pandora's box of sounds I can already hear in my bedroom when I lay in the morning. It's Pandora's box of lies and false promises and tax benefits and revenue. Let's read some. Sports betting, legalized marijuana, blueprint. They're all windfalls. They're going to change everything. But we know they aren't. I have 1,220 days left teaching in Frederick County Public School. And I imagine that I'll be here longer than most of you will be on that board. And when I retire, how far will this Pandora's box go? What will this look like for every child every day? This will not just stop at Carroll Manor. It won't stop at my front door. If you don't stop this now and advocate for us and for our kids and for our communities, it will continue. Thank you.
Little, she's speaking on her own behalf this time.
In May of 2026, it was reported that Frederick County collected approximately $70 million in tax revenue from data centers already operating here. With this in mind, I ask one simple question. If Adamstown is paying the price, why aren't Adamstown's children receiving the protections that they deserve? In a recent council meeting, Steve McKay challenged how county funds were being misused, and in a rebuttal, MC Keegan went on record stating that data center revenue went towards fully funding Linganore Creek Elementary School. Carroll Manor Elementary School was built in 1965. If millions of dollars in new revenue are flowing into this county because of projects surrounding Adamstown, why aren't those dollars invested here first? Why didn't the Board of Education insist on enhanced ventilation, permanent air quality monitoring, and noise mitigation before placing this community next to a massive industrial development? Carroll Manor serves young children, including students with disabilities and others who have medical conditions that can make environmental exposures especially concerning. Shouldn't they have been the first children protected? Instead, our school received a $300 Purple Air monitor, a monitor that as of 2:15 this afternoon was not working and was not reporting data. Maryland's regulations also allow data center facilities during periods of extreme heat and under certain operating conditions to rely on hundreds of backup diesel generators. When children and teachers of Carroll Manor go outside for recess, physical education, or community events, what assurances can you provide them? What independent protections are in place to ensure the air that they breathe is safe? So I leave you with this. When those generators are running, when the air changes, and when the sound of industrial complex fills this community, will you pull up a lawn chair behind this building and sit there with your family and breathe the air with complete confidence? If your answer is anything less than an unequivocal yes, then why should the children of Carroll Manor Elementary be expected to? May I just finish real quick in 2 sentences?
Okay.
Tonight, I ask you to stand with this community, support overturning the expansion, demand that Jessica Fitzwater and the Frederick County Council reconsider a decision that places one community at disproportionate risk, and demand meaningful protections for the health and safety of our most vulnerable citizens, our children. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And next we have, I'm sorry, I can't, this handwriting looks like mine. So is it Shell Davis? Shella Davis? I saw not the Davis part.
Again, I want to say thank you for giving everyone an opportunity, because I think there's been a lot of really good points and lots can be done. I don't think that it necessarily has to be absent of data centers or overlays. I think that they can work together. I don't know how many of you've gotten your real estate tax bill.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, yes.
Mine went up quite a bit, right? And that's not sustainable. That's not sustainable for all of us. Whether we're students here, we have students, the whole county, it's not sustainable. They shouldn't be doing that. So we do have to look at other resources. We have to look for other places of income. And if the data centers can do that, and I noticed that you took some information earlier, I have a data center article that I'd like to share with you about the ones in Reston. And there's a lot of really good things that have happened there because of what they have done and how they have built it. So I think that we can look at those things. And a part of that is improving the schools. There's no reason why we should have a school this old. I was on PTA forever. My kids are grown, and that's what we fight for. We want what's best for our kids, and that's what you guys want. So if there's a way that we can take this situation and make it happen to be a good thing for everybody, for the entire county, especially the kids here that are closest to it, I think that, you should keep your minds open to all those opportunities, because it's not a sustainable situation just to keep raising the residents' taxes and expect us to foot the bill constantly. We need to find other places for revenue. So I appreciate your time. I'd like to hand these out before I leave.
Thank you. Next, we have Connor Boyle.
Good evening, my name is Connor Boyle, and I have 2 students here at CMES, and I'm actively involved in the CMES community. The fiber optic loop and connecting Frederick to Loudoun County is significant for this region. Frederick will no longer be on the periphery, but directly connected to world-class technology hub, transforming how companies view investing in our county. However, economic potential is only one side of this coin. From tonight's comments, it's clear that residents want to move forward with real transparency and accountability. Past promises of community development and safety have fallen short. Let's be clear about what's missing from this equation. The technology hub isn't just built with fiber optic cables and concrete. It's built on the human fabric of the community it disrupts. We cannot approve our way out of a deficit of faith. To move forward, we have to start by restoring basic principles. Communities need trust. Developers need public confidence. Local governments need credibility. And none of those goals are mutually exclusive. Approvals have been granted, court proceedings have concluded, and cranes are in the air. Will this project reluctantly be accepted or ultimately embraced by the community? This is an opportunity for county government, developers, and residents to build relationships, not on litigation or political campaigns, but on communication, accountability, and mutual respect. To achieve this, we need actionable commitments, clear milestones, link data center construction phases to community project safety completions, with permit restrictions in place until those community projects are finished. An annual community fund dedicated to local schools, parks, and safety. Independent environmental auditing to ensure accountability, and a public transparency dashboard to keep residents informed every step of the way. We need concrete, transparent action in order to achieve community trust and government credibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Sean Schillinger.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm a parent of children at Carroll Manor and an Adamstown resident. I'm deeply perturbed that we are even here to see the basic health of our children. The proposal to build a data center utilizing massive diesel backup generators just 900 feet from our school is a direct failure of our duty to protect children. Let's look at the immediate health risk. Children breathe more rapidly than adults. Their lungs are still developing. Placing these heavy diesel generators within 900 feet means trapping our students in a plume of diesel particulate matter and nitrogen oxides. These are proven carcinogens. They trigger asthma attacks, permanently reduce lung capacity, and increase cognitive fatigue. We're literally trading our children's health for industrial zoning. Environmentally, this is a disaster. The low frequency hum and vibration from these facilities disrupts learning environments, while the risk of diesel spills threaten our local soil and water. Schools should be sanctuaries for health and green spaces, not buffers for heavy tech infrastructure. The plan proposes over 100 diesel generators. These machines will test intermittently, on regular intervals, and they will run simultaneously and constantly during power outages. Picture a power outage with their kids on a playground or sitting in classrooms while these diesel engines fill the air with carcinogens. There is no real consideration for their health and safety. We have looked for an ally, an advocate from this school board. Until now, it has felt like a deafening silence. All I keep hearing is how the rest of Frederick County doesn't have to worry. That speaks volumes. Our community has been saying no for almost over 2 years. Our elected officials have failed us. In the end, this is about money, nothing else. Adamstown and his children were sold to the highest bidder. My family lost Frederick. We built our lives here for almost 2 decades, but it is becoming unlivable. We are now actively considering moving away. Our children cannot vote. They rely on you to be their shield. If our kids in this community suffer the long-term health effects of this heavy industrialization, it will be in part because of what actions you take or what actions you don't take. Don't let that be your legacy. There is no safety or mitigation strategy other than to stop. I urge you to speak up now to the county board and county executive and strongly reject this expansion now. Thank you.
Merle, Maine.
Good evening. I've been in this neighborhood a long time. I graduated from this school a few years back. Thing is, though, we fought East Alco. We're going to fight this data center. What the school board needs to do, the way it sounds with all these concerns we're hearing, you need to get on the data centers, put a forest out here to help filtrate the air, protect the children here and also the community. That's the East Alco, they were the biggest virus ever come down the road when it comes to air quality. Because we fall down too, because I grow Christmas trees and it destroyed our place. And we don't want to see this happen with the data centers. I mean, like I say, I've been here before and I'm still here. Hope I can still be here for many more years too. But you've got to put your foot down and say no, to things, or tell them what has to be done. It's not, you can't do it unless you speak up. If you're going to say yes ma'am, no sir, yes sir, no sir, you're not going to get anywhere. You've got to, you're all been elected by the county. I'm a voter too. You've got to speak your piece. If you don't, Lord help us. There's a gentleman standing right there. He'll tell you he and I've had our agreements and disagreements, but we're still great friends. And I appreciate the time to give us to speak tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Next, we have Frank Holloway.
How you doing? Frank Hollow. I'm actually running for County Council District 1 right here. I want to thank you guys for being here. However, in saying that, I don't know if I recognize seeing you guys here before. I've been about 7, 8 of these. I appreciate you caring now. You want to say you care? You want to say you're fighting for the kids? Let's fight for the kids. You say you want to listen? Let's listen. The school's 1965. It's very old. This school's being invaded by a data center. We can only do just so much. And I've been around the county, and a lot of schools have a lot of issues. I know that. There's only so much budget, so much money that goes for schools and books, and everybody wants a new school, the latest, greatest thing. It's hot in here. Look at these vents. You need to put money aside. You need to make this school a priority. There's no other school in Frederick County being invaded by an invasion. You have to have mitigation. You need to get some engineers in here. You need to get some HVAC people in here, some noise air monitor people. You need to do a complete mitigation strategy. Look at this school. Help the kids, the autistic kids, the diesel generators. I know you can't fix some of that over there, but the budget, the attention has to be given to this school. If you truly care, this school needs to be placed a little above some of these other schools. All schools are important, don't get me wrong. No other school's being invaded like this. So care, please help these kids. Please, thank you.
Charlotte McGehee.
Good evening. My name is Charlotte McGee. I'm a parent of a couple of Carroll Manor elementary kids. From here, we can see the Catalyst campus, formerly known as Quantum Frederick, being built. We've driven around the closures on New Design Road and Manor Woods roads. Our children walk into school every day with this project in their backyard. So the question is, who exactly is our new neighbor? It's the property owner, TPG Real Estate, master developer, Catalyst Development, campus developers like Rowan and Aligned, and the future operators of these facilities. The structure may be complicated, but the impact on our community is simple. The decisions made by these companies affect our children, our shared resources, our roads, and our community. This is a neighbor unlike any other. The current plans include an allocation of up to 1.1 million gallons of potable water per day for cooling, roughly the daily water use of several thousand households, and up to approximately 2.4 gigawatts of power capacity at full build-out and electricity demand on the scale of more than 1 million homes. A project of this size comes with an equally large responsibility to be a good neighbor. A good neighbor communicates, listens, takes responsibility, and shows up. I believe the Board of Education can help make that happen. While you may not regulate this project, you represent the students and families who live with its impacts every day. This isn't simply another development. It's a 2,100 acre industrial campus immediately adjacent to an FCPS elementary school. I asked the board to help establish an ongoing Carroll Manor Good Neighbor Advisory Committee by convening quarterly meetings with the organizations behind the Catalyst campus, school leadership, parents, and local officials. These meetings would provide a consistent place to share updates, answer questions, and build transparency around issues like water use and air quality. Our children spend 6 hours a day next door to this project. Let's help make sure the companies and people behind it become the kind of neighbors those kids deserve and we deserve. Thank you.
Sam Wacker?
Wacker Lee, it's a long E.
Wacker Lee.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sam. I work on old cars and trucks, so I don't know a lot about data center, but I do know about diesel. And they're max 40% efficient. And I had to learn what grid emergency includes, which is when it's too hot, too cold, when renewable energy is in lulls and no sun, no wind, when there's rapid growth, housing, commercial developments, and the grid needs to prioritize other things, and scheduled annual maintenance. So that doesn't sound like a snowstorm and the diesel generators come on. It sounds like a lot more to me. And the problem is, while these may be efficient diesel generators, you cannot filter out carbon monoxide. There's specialized, highly expensive equipment that uses catalysts to create HVAC systems that remove the carbon monoxide from inside the school, but kids still play outside. They still walk to school. They still bike to school. They still exist in this neighborhood. And no matter how many trees we plant, they don't pull carbon monoxide and nitrous oxides out of the air. So I'm not quite sure what to do there other than to gather data. Is there an opportunity when these data centers kick on, shut down the school for 2 years until we know it's safe? I'd rather send my kid to a longer bus ride or drive them to another school until we know that we're not going to hurt our kids. Thank you.
Vanessa Rennie Lopez.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Rennie Lopez. I guess my mitigation strategy would be don't put a data center near a school, but I guess it's too late for that. I'm the guardian of a niece going into 7th grade. She suffered from fetal distress syndrome because her mother is a drug addict and an alcoholic. And I'm wondering, how is this going to affect her? Is she going to regress? How many of these students who aren't autistic are going to develop brain problems? I guess my main concern is her. My main concern are all the students within a 10-mile radius, and there are 17 K through 12 schools within that radius. And it just reminds me a lot of the discussions they used to have in the 70s about asbestos and lead, how so, there weren't any problems. And then 10 years later, we realized, these kids can't read because of the brain damage. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Elise Wilson.
Well, Jessica's Fitzwater's website, remember when everything just started, she said she promised data centers would not be close to schools. However, with this new CDI overlay we could get, only 900 feet away will be a school. So I guess she lied to us. No surprise. But anyway, the BOE is an elected body. It should be above politics and independent of politicians' personal agendas. You must work with county politicians, but you do not work for them. BOE members are elected to put the children first. You may not have the authority to direct the county executive or MDE to act, but you do have the option to shrug and remain silent. For over 8 months, you've known they needed this. For many emails, you promised you would investigate per the January 13th Frederick News Post that we all both were in, and here we are. You already knew what the community is asking for. When we look at the industrial data hub plan next door to Carroll Manor Elementary, we cannot treat it as a standard zoning zone. Under the cumulative MDE permits, we're looking at the onslaught of around 1,000 diesel generators once a 1,300-acre build out is finished. For our students with the asthma and our newer divergent students with autism, this massive industrial footprint introduces 2 direct medical threats: toxic air pollution and acoustic pollution. For a child with asthma, diesel generator fumes are an immediate trigger. These engines pump out concentrated plumes of nitrogen dioxide and microscopic soot that act as sandpaper to developing lungs, causing instant airway inflammation and terrifying asthma attacks. Some suggest using purple air monitors, but those are completely blind to invisible toxic diesel gases. A toxic plume could literally drift right across the playground, and a purple air monitor wouldn't even notice it. And that's why we must demand Koenig Air Pro fence line airtime monitors. That is the gold standard that they have at Broad Run High School in Ashburn, Virginia right now. That standard actually catches the both physical soot and invisible gases in real time. But this isn't just these children that rave, it's the fear. Let me end by saying mitigation is not a luxury, it is an accessibility requirement, a medical necessity, and a moral obligation to protect the physical and neurological health of every child at CMES. If you don't do something before school starts, we won't vote for you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sam Newhouse. I will begin by citing a study, The Unpaid Toll, Quantifying and Addressing the Public Health Impact of Data Centers by Yuelin Han et al. Asthma symptoms cases, among other health outcomes, will total a public health burden of hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Long-term exposure to PM 2.5, even at low level, are directly linked to numerous health outcomes, including premature mortality, health attacks, asthma, stroke, lung cancer, and even cognitive decline. PM 2.5 is a pollutant released by diesel generators. Exhaust fumes from diesel generators will be constant. These generators will be tested on a rotational basis, and as you have heard, anytime the grid is in necessity, they will be powered on. We will be polluting this entire region. You must demand permanent air quality monitoring stations with independent verification. Current planned build out for this data center will place 688,000 gallons of diesel fuel less than a mile from this school. You must demand an emergency response plan for a 688,000 gallon diesel fire. At a Frederick County Council City Council meeting, a council member from Loudoun County zoomed in and, among other things, attested that a data center hum of 52 decibels drove their residents crazy. That is below the 55 decibel limit imposed by the Frederick County CDI. You must demand mitigation and remediation rules and enforcement mechanisms for noise pollution. The school board must publicly state their opposition to the multiple sources of pollution being forced upon this community. You can publicly advocate for a new school for Adamstown, placed somewhere away from the pollution that is being forced upon this community. Thank you.
Dan, and I'll ask him to state his name when he steps up.
Dan Yonkieri. So let me give you 2 unacceptable choices. One is where the energy companies cycle your power off in your home and your home feels as hot as this room. The other unacceptable choice is they cycle your power off and they cycle the data centers off and they use these backup generators. And Sam's right, they're not just being run when they're cycled off. They're gonna be tested regularly. They're gonna be tested weekly, monthly, quarterly, and so forth. The CDI is unacceptable, but we're here because every child deserves a safe place to go to school. These children should not be surrounded by industrial scale diesel generators. We shouldn't even be here. Yet here we are again for the umpteenth time. But if we're going to have the limited number of data centers that we're going to have, which really we've got to limit it even more, but they need to have the strongest protections available for these kids. So what we're here asking for from you is that you will unequivocally stand with the children, stand with these families, stand with this community. We need meaningful noise mitigation. We need real air quality monitoring, not something you pick up from Home Depot. But we need your commitment. We need your commitment to protecting both the school and the surrounding community, because our children only get one childhood. So let's make sure that they don't have to sacrifice their health to get an education here. Thank you.
All right, that was the last speaker that signed up. We're here, so if you'd like to speak, come on up. Please state your name. And line up there if you like. But state your name. And
my name is Kate Lane, and I am a kindergarten teacher at Carroll Manor Elementary School. I have 2 comments. As a teacher who is as old as this building, I have some flaws, and so does this building. My room is hot. This room is hot. My health and my projected health directly impacts the budget of Frederick County Public Schools. And if my tax bill, which I'll go home and look at, increases and my salary does not increase, I may no longer be able to live and work in Frederick County. My second comment is, yes, the air quality is one thing, but the particulates that fall on the recess equipment that the children play on, my kindergarten children, get on their hands, it gets on their clothes, it gets on my rug, it gets in my classroom, and then my classroom is just as dangerous as the outside of this school. Thank you.
Right. Good evening, board members and neighbors. My name is Andy Solange, and I'm here to read a statement on behalf of Timothy Grant, County Council at Large County. Every major decision made in Frederick County impacts real human beings, not abstractions, not talking points. Tonight, we're standing inside an elementary school, a space built on a promise to nurture, educate, and protect the next generation, our children, our future. Yet, as we stand on the precipice of massive data center development, from the new Digital Drive campus to the new industrial zones, we have to ask, are we ensuring that that promise is not compromised? Our campaign, our struggle has never been about a single isolated issue. So let's get that clear for the press. We are in a holistic fight for lower living costs, strong schools, equitable access to services and opportunity, and smart, responsible growth supported by transparent, accountable governance. So when we raise concerns about our county's approach to data centers, we're doing so as part of our fight for dignity by design for all of us, especially the most vulnerable, like our children. When the Maryland Department of the Environment approves 99 industrial-sized emergency backup diesel generators down the road from where these children play, from where they learn, that is not an abstraction, that is their safety. We cannot look at this through a cold lens of zoning maps or tax brackets. We have to look at it through the eyes of a parent. If there's a catastrophic failure, a grid collapse, an environmental hazard at these high voltage facilities, what is the protocol to shield our schools, to shield our children? How do we guarantee a crisis at a data center never drifts into a Frederick County classroom? A community is measured by how it protects its most vulnerable. If we are not engineering safety into the blueprint before a single shovel hits the dirt, we are failing this basic test of preparedness. To our board, our county leaders, and to Amazon, show us comprehensive safety and mitigation strategies. Prove to us with certainty that our children will not bear the burden of corporate expansion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Doug Lefevre. I'm from Newmarket. I'm not representing the Honorable Mayor Burhans. First off, it's amazing what you guys do. It's honorable. It's a thankless job. It's controversial. You can't please everybody. I'm going to tell you a scenario I hope never happens. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. But what you can't tell me is it could not be the reality. This is the single biggest decision you'll ever make in your political lives. Because when someone's 17 years old and their daughter is 2 years behind on their schooling and they can't graduate with their friends and they're 35 pounds underweight and they can't participate with the lacrosse team, the robotics team, they can't go to freaking prom because the board got ahead of itself. And because they're dealing with cancer treatments at Hopkins, at Maryland, at Mount Sinai, at the Mayo Clinic. The whole point of that, and I hope that never comes to fruition, but you can't say that could not be a possibility for some child and some parent, some grandparent in here. This is important. You tell the board to clean up their mess, that you have the best and latest and greatest science. I got C's in biology, so I don't know. But anyway, this is extraordinarily serious. You let them know, 2-year moratorium minimum until we figure this out. Thank you very much for listening.
I'm Laura Westorp. I live nearby and a resident in the local area. I find it interesting that this is an issue that's been going on for 2 years, and now we hit an election year, and all of a sudden everyone cares. 2 years ago, they passed the Streamlining Reduction Act, which your senator was one of the sponsors, that allowed all of the data center diesel backup generators to skip all of the known overlay oversight improvements that would go in. Nobody's asking him, has he rescinded that? Has he tried to rescind that? What did he do this year to turn that around? Your current delegation has, between doing that, they've held a meeting, they sent a letter, and now they're holding this. You got to ask yourself, what could they have actually done? They could have repealed the tax incentives, which would make it a lot harder for all the data centers to build in Frederick County, let alone Maryland. They could have reinstated the requirements for the data center backup systems and the diesel generators. They required the data center to be self-sufficient with their water and their power consumption. They required all data centers use of Tier 4 or better diesel generators so that we'd at least have that protection for our children, our air quality. We would also, why didn't they even try for utilities companies to establish data center commercial rates above and beyond the standard rates? All of these could have been done in state law and in legislation. None of it was done until all of a sudden it's an election year. All of you had to suffer for 2 years like the rest of us with higher inflation, higher tax rates, higher utility rates, because they refused to do anything until all of a sudden their name was on the ballot. That's wrong. That is not taking care of your community. We deserve better. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm Louisa Conklin. I'm the Democratic nominee for County Council here in District 1. I'm up here today because, first of all, I didn't sign up to speak. I wanted to hear from community members. I wanted to hear from parents, teachers, retired teachers, people who will be directly impacted. And I think we've heard them loud and clear. They are deeply and direly concerned about the health of the people who work in this building, which I think is within your purview. The health of the children who go to school here, also in your purview. And more broadly, the health of everybody who lives in this area. This was never acceptable. The decision to put these things within 1,000 feet of an elementary school was never acceptable. And when I decided to run, and I remember way back in probably March or April, I was telling a coworker who, unlike me, is a parent to elementary school kids. And I told her, they're putting it within 1,000 feet of an elementary school in the community. And I will never forget the look on her face. It was not acceptable, ever. The fact that we've allowed this to happen in our community, something that horrifies somebody who lives just across the river in Virginia, who's watched this unfold for over a decade now, we have time to turn this back. And if we're not doing that, and if we're not keeping these things as far away from this school and every other school facility in our county, we're not doing enough. Thank you.
My name is Andy Ellis. I'm a Green Party candidate for governor. I grew up in Frederick. I went to TJ in 1994. I live in Baltimore now, but I'd love to come back here at some point. My mom still lives here. I've been traveling around the state where people are fighting against elected officials who won't stand up for them and who won't stand up to these billionaire corporations that are trying to build these data centers there. And everywhere I go, there's an elected official who comes and says, well, we can't do this, and we can't do that, and we can't do the other thing. Well, what I'm telling you today is that you can either sacrifice your position, your career, and your well-being in order to protect these children, or you will lose those jobs. I've been in Calvert County where those folks who didn't stand up to the data centers lost their jobs. Some folks here lost their elected positions, and I hope that if you all do not take a stand, put your bodies and your careers and your positions on the line in order to protect these children, that none of you have a job anymore come November.
Good evening, folks. My name is Thomas Fenn. My wife and I recently moved to Adamstown. I'm a semi-retired attorney from Massachusetts. We moved here to be closer to our grandkids who were all within 30 minutes of the area. We lived in Lexington, Massachusetts, and I'm a little familiar with some of these industrial complexes, as we had some in our backyard as well. When they came in, it was wonderful. The money, oh my God, the tax money that we were going to get was fantastic. It was going to help our schools, help our roads, rebuild sidewalks. It was a great, great thing. And but as they built their center and time went on, they just quite didn't make the money that they thought they were going to make. So they immediately came to us for an abatement. So the 10 million that they had promised, well, we can do 4 million now. And maybe we're hoping in 5 years we can get up to 7 million. So I think I see that happening here. Adamstown, I think, I'm the new guy. I think it's like 2,500 people. There are not very many people here in Adamstown. And one time we had a snowstorm in Lexington, terrible snowstorm. Wiped us out for like 2 weeks. And I called National Grid because we had no lights, no power, no heat. And I said, hey, you guys gonna get here? Because they had a thing called the batten had dropped and cut off the electricity. And he kind of laughed. He goes, what street are you on? He said, oh yeah, okay, your grid is 60 homes. Unfortunately, we're working with homes of 300, grids of 1,000. We'll get to you. It'll be in a few weeks though, because you're only 60 homes. And I see Adamstown in a similar situation. Only 20 500 people here. And I think we look to you to help us and to talk to I'm getting used to the governments here, city council, I guess it is. And because somewhat the train has left the station, but I think these folks just are looking for options. Because the train's left the station, this thing's coming. And so I think we can get money for the school and a buffer zone.
Thank you.
Hi, how's it going? My name is Tyler Lowe. I was a student here at CMES. I just wanted to say one thing. I got to play out in those fields. I got to play baseball. I got to grow up at this school. I just want you to remember that these kids go to this school. And I want you to remember that they deserve a great childhood, not to be going to school right next to that. Just remember that. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you guys for holding this listening section. I think what you've heard tonight is a lot of legitimate and genuine concerns by the folks who live in this area and have children attend the school. So I would urge you to advocate with the county government, with the executive and the council to put in place the best available technology to filter, potential pollutants coming to the school. Two, I would also caution you not to rely on the revenue that you think is going to come from this as being either sustainable in a long-term fashion and build up budgets, which then have to have draconian cuts if that revenue disappears. So that's all I have to say. Thanks again for holding this session.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Richard Wackenruger. I live in Buckystown, not too far from here. I got interested in this project a couple months ago, and I started driving out here. And my first impression was, what beautiful farms you go to once you leave the last warehouse on New Design out in the country. And it's beautiful farmland all the way. But I knew I was going to come and see something different. And the first time I came, I turned on Carroll Manor, and there it was. And to me, an English major, it was something out of a Steven Spielberg movie. This luscious, bucolic farmland. And there is this monolith rising up from the earth. And it's a little overwhelming. I have friends come down from Massachusetts to visit. We had to take them there. That was the only place we took them other than Monocacy Valley. My point is, this is a big deal. And I don't know if everybody in Frederick knew what they were getting into, but this is a big effing deal, as our former president once said. And the other impression I have is here we are sitting in the Adamstown Elementary School with no air conditioning and apparent building problems, HVAC inadequacies. And 1,900 feet away is this modern, ultra-modern building sponsored by Quantum. And maybe Amazon's going in there, I'm not sure. But somebody like Amazon is going in there. So this is the most technological environment you could imagine. And here we are in this hot school. My point is, and this is my impression, this is not a fair fight. And I'm wondering, for state reps, our representative from the Congresswoman, we need your help. If we're going to stand up and mitigate and fight back, I don't know if that's the right phrase, but make sure that every damn environmental control and consideration is employed on this project before it ever opens its doors and pollutes one iota. We got to do that. I don't know if that, and that may be happening, but I sure as heck hope it does.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Karen Vinegar, and I live across the street in the neighborhood. And I have something very simple to say, which is, if this was your neighborhood, would this be okay? And just, that's the only question I have.
Thank you.
My name is Nancy Evans, and I'm a resident of Frederick County. I'm just concerned, I don't even live in the area. And my question is, even if you have the best monitoring equipment, if the standards aren't met and there's pollution, either noise or air pollution, who's going to suffer? What's going to give? I can't picture them temporarily closing down the data centers. And, what is the plan? Is there a plan? And maybe I haven't heard it, maybe it's out there, but what is the plan if the levels are exceeded, and who's going to suffer, the kids or the data centers?
Yup. Thank you.
I think my name is Mary Holmes. That I've written to you, and I've written over about all the technical things, everything this community is confronted with bravely. I think children deserve a bill of rights of their own. Begins with kindness, begins with caring, physical and emotional and spiritual welfare of every child. That sounds idealistic, maybe, but most of us aspire to those. I don't think seeing your community go from green and flourishing, growing plants and trees and animals to a series of metal warehouses with lights and noise and chaos. I can't imagine that happening to a child. They're watching you. They're watching us. They're listening to you. Maybe they don't know when the school board meets, but they know something's going on. When mom gets lost, I get lost sometimes. I live in Jefferson, and one of my favorite routes is right through Adamstown to Pakistan, because it's so beautiful here. And I still cry every time I go through. And I get lost sometimes. But this isn't all good for our children. It's just not right. And we all care about children. You're either teachers or a parent or a grandparent, or you just care about kids. I have no grandchildren, but I care about kids. I was a teacher, college level. Really love that. And still look for these kids. Almost 70. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, all right. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. We were here to hear you, but I am gonna let my fellow members here, if they have anything to say about this evening and about, our next steps, they're welcome to do so.
I'll just keep it simple. Thank you all for being here and for candidly sharing both your concerns and your potential solutions for us to be considering for the school system, for the students, and for our staff safety. I look forward to our board discussion as school gets started in the fall.
Hey, thank you all for coming out. My daughter goes to Tuscarora Elementary School, so I'm on the other side. It's done the same thing, as you know, I've been to probably every single one of these meetings. But hearing all these things is definitely going to enrich the discussion, using this data and making sure that we're protecting our students and our staff and the community. But thank you guys for voicing it and staying to the mic and letting us know face to face what exactly we need to be focusing our attention.
Thank you, Karen Yoho, and I've said to my colleagues, I am late to this game. I live on the other side of the county. I do have a grandchild in school, but not near here. And I haven't been on Facebook much, and I'm afraid that seems to be where a lot of these meetings have been announced, and so I find out about them after they're already happening, and I do apologize for that. I really appreciate the tone of tonight's meeting, your suggestions. You've given me a lot to think about and taking notes. Saw me look at my phone. My mother had surgery today, so I'm just checking on her. She's in North Carolina, but really appreciate all your advice, and I do sympathize. You have our hearts. I know I've heard from other board members, so we can't always speak for each other. When you say no answers, we're a body of 7 individuals, and we can't without having a motion, and we can't do that because it's not a meeting for us tonight, it's a hearing. But I think you have all of our hearts, certainly, and you've given us a lot to think about, certainly myself.
My name is Janie Monnier. Thank you guys for being here. I live in Newmarket. I remember reading that Frederick News Post article about the NPRP project and saw the words eminent domain, and being a daughter of farmers, that's a call. It's a call to action, and it's been a call to action for many years. It's the entire energy grid. So whether we're talking about power lines marching across our county, and we're talking about data centers behind our school, and we're talking about folks who are just looking, large companies, billionaires, data centers, all of this, they have their own goals and aims in mind that do not align with our community, right? They don't align with the health of our children, the health of our land, the health of our farms, the health of our community. Without our farms, we don't have food. Without food, our children can't, come to school and take a test and do the best they can, right? We already know that intrinsically. So I appreciate everybody coming out here. It sometimes can feel really lonely when you feel like you're the only person that cares about the situation. And also as a registered nurse, advocating for patients in a room where all of these things have finally hit them, and we're having to make decisions about who's going to be the one to make the call, about what life-saving treatment is left because their lungs don't work from years and years of chemical exposure. I understand. So when I say that my heart is with you, and my ancestral line is with us, because they're all saying the same thing, all of these folks, that this is a call to action, and we can do better. And so my commitment to everybody is that we will be doing better. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for coming out. I'm Jamie Brennan. I put forward a meeting agenda item a couple months ago for the Board of Education to discuss data centers. And Ms. Monnier and Mr. Black signed on to that motion with me. It takes 3 of us. And so the reason why I did, this doesn't impact me directly. I live in Mount Airy, so I'm pretty far away. So I thank you to those of you who have been writing us, though, and letting us know about this problem and letting us know about the proximity and making sure that we're aware of all the concerns. And I felt like we had, as a board, not addressed the community concerns. And so I wanted to have a public meeting where we could find out what we do know, what our staff who's in charge of recommending facilities and things like that to us know, what they've learned from Loudoun County, and also that the community could come and tell us at our typical meeting where we can make motions and that sort of thing. The
kinds of things that we need, because we will need to do things like make motions on, should we hire, independent experts? Should we get some type of, people to do a mitigation assessment, things like that. The various stuff that we could do and should be doing to our buildings, right? So those things have to be discussed in our public meeting at a regular business session, and so we can make motions on those sorts of things. And that's why I wanted to put that item on the agenda, and I believe that that's going to be September 9th, and I'm correct, so that's going to be September 9th. So I hope that you guys will come out to that as well. I don't control when it goes on the calendar. I can only put the thing in, and we put the thing in back, I think, in March or early April. I'm not sure now. Summer's flown by. But I thank you guys very much, because the concern for me, when I understood the gravity of the situation, is that our children are exposed to, what the Secretary of Health will say is, a toxic stew. And so it's not just one thing, right? It's not just the, it's not just the generators. It's not just the air pollution. It's not just all the little things. It's the cumulative impact. And so all the safety monitor things are, well, this is safe. This is a safe level. That's a safe level. Okay, what is safe when it's everything all at once? What is the impact of the noise pollution? We've been told things about, the air quality and things like that, but what is the impact on absenteeism? What is the impact on trips to the nurse? What is the impact on behavioral changes? Those are the kinds of things that we're also going to talk about at that meeting. And so I hope you guys come out to that. I think those are very important. These are the things we need to understand. And we need to, as a board, do what we can to protect the children in our schools that are closest to these centers and push back as much as we can against the county. So thank you guys very much for coming out.
I'm just going to close this out by thanking you all for the respectful dialogue. That's what this county's known for, is the vast majority of advocacy here is always respectful, because we're all in the same team. We're all concerned about our children, our community. We want to make sure they're safe. So I really appreciate much of the information that you've shared tonight will be shared with our staff so that it can be included in their presentation in September. That, we specifically wanted to have that after school. We didn't want to have it in the middle of summer. We're going to get, we want to bury it in the summer. It's going to be an evening session, and it is on September 9th. So I encourage you to come out and hear that presentation, and you'll hear a lot more from us as individuals from our own personal investigation. Thank you for the handouts and the paperwork and your comments tonight. We'll certainly add that to the resources that we're currently gathering from our friends in Loudoun County. We're gathering a lot of information there that we hope that we're going to be able to put to use here in Frederick County, so we don't have to go through what they're currently going through down there. If you've been following what's going on in Reston right now, I mean, not in Reston, but in Ashburn right now. So there's some regret there. I really do. I appreciate everyone coming out tonight. Thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you in September. Thank you.